Welcome to the Carnivore Family Channel, where there's no wrong way to eat a steak. Today we are kicking off World Carnivore Month. Every January we encourage people who are curious about this way of eating to take a 30-day carnivore challenge. And since we are the carnivore family, I'm going to encourage you to try this challenge as a family. So today I'm going to talk about what that might look like if you are brand new to carnivore. Before we get started, do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button and ring that bell. When we're done here, check out Carnivore Family on social media and our store. Links in the description box below.
Welcome to the Carnivore Family. We don't eat plants or fruit from a tree.
Hi, if you are new here, I'm Rebecca Reese. This is my husband Louie, and these are our 8 kids. Our whole family adopted the carnivore way of eating in June of 2022 as a Hail Mary effort to heal my husband's life-threatening health conditions. And you know what? It worked. He reversed his prediabetes, high blood pressure, IBS, sleep apnea, depression, low testosterone, and lost over 100 pounds in the process. You can watch the full interview here to hear the whole story. We are currently very focused carnivores, consuming only meat, eggs, limited dairy, salt, and water. But we didn't reach this point overnight, and you don't have to either. If you are a motivated adult, then I highly recommend you do the 30-day challenge to the fullest extent you can. You will see the max benefit that way and be more likely to keep going. But with kids, I recommend a more transitional approach. A lot of this will depend on what your kids are used to eating, but our goal is to move them along the carnivore spectrum, a step at a time. I have broken this down into 4 phases, which I will briefly cover here and will then follow up in greater detail in a series of videos. How long you spend in each phase will be up to your individual family, but our kids spent about 3 months in each of the first 3 phases. Phase 1, major carb dial down. In this phase, we're going to cut out all of the big, obvious carby foods, items that are literally nothing but grains and sugar. This will be your breads, pastas, pastries, cereals, rice, candies, and desserts. This is going to feel like a huge step if you're coming from a standard American diet. But we aren't going to focus so much on what we cut out, but what we are adding in, nutrient-dense animal products. Our primary goal at this phase is to make meat the center stone of our meals. We do not worry about spices, sauces, or questionable ingredients in the meat products. Hamburger patties drowning in cheese and ketchup? Fine. Cheese-filled hot dogs dipped in mustard? Go for it. Gas station jerky and string cheese? Why not? A pound of bacon in one sitting? Absolutely. Grilled chicken dipped in barbecue sauce? Sure. Fried Spam covered in sour cream? Knock yourself out. A hot bowl of pepperonis and melted cheese and ranch? Sounds like a plan. No, these are not all ideal foods, but we aren't planning for them to eat this way forever. We're trying to build new habits that make meat the star of our plate. Their taste buds take time to adjust. We also gave them lots of dairy options at this stage as long as it didn't have added sugar. Plain, full-fat cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, sour cream, and a smorgasbord of hard cheeses. We also continued to have raw fruits and vegetables available throughout this phase. Our kids were used to having them around to snack on: apples, bananas, oranges, carrots, bell peppers, avocados, tomatoes, cucumbers, and berries. If your kids are not used to fresh produce, don't feel the need to introduce it because it's only temporary. Phase 2, minor carb dial down. In phase 2, we started paying closer attention to the minor carbs, the sneakier carbs. The biggest offenders for this were the sauces and produce. Most sauces are just loaded with sugar, and we did not substitute anything with sugar-free versions because the goal is to eliminate the sweet tooth, not replace it with a different type of sweet tooth. We started being more mindful about the amounts of sauces they used and then slowly began weaning off of them. It started as simple as just letting us run out of a sauce and then not replenishing it right away. Nobody died from missing ketchup or ranch for a few days. And then after a while, we just stopped buying them altogether. This gave it a staggered feel for the kids. Honey mustard faded out one week, and then a couple weeks later it was barbecue sauce. A few weeks later the ranch train dried up, and then the ketchup. In the meantime, we focused on trying more carnivore-friendly options like butter and sour cream. We also continued to try new cheese varieties, but tried to prevent kids from filling up on cheese. It was during this phase that we also put reasonable limits on things like cottage cheese and yogurt. Again, mostly to keep the kids from filling up on them. We also used the same approach with the produce as we did with the sauces, managing portions, then allowing them to run out, casually replenishing, and then eventually letting them fade off of our grocery list. At the same time, we focused more and more on what we are getting rather than what we are missing. We tried new cuts of meat, cooked them together in a variety of ways, tried silly carnivore recipes like meat crust pizza, learned to make our own jerky, and we made it a fun family adventure. Phase 3, processed foods dialed down. In Phase 3, we started paying closer attention to the quantity and quality of the processed meats we were eating. We opted for the 5-ingredient sausage over the 30-ingredient kind, for example. We found a variety of bacon that wasn't cured with sugar. We started using deli meats, mainly for last-minute-to-go lunches and special occasions. Our focus became whole meats, cooked at home for the majority of our meals. We learned to cook everything in either butter, tallow, lard, or bacon grease. We got used to preparing to-go meals for ourselves anytime we were going to be out all day. By this point, the kids had developed a more refined meat palate. They had strong opinions on how the ground beef was prepared and how long the chicken was cooked in the air fryer. Some would happily tuck into a plate of bacon and eggs every morning, and others would rather pork steaks or burger patties. We encouraged them to explore their preferences and participate in cooking their meals. This made it more fun and more personal. We did not expect them to like all the same foods that we liked. Phase 4, refining the system. Phase 4 is the final stage and it's ongoing. This is where you help your kids refine their choices in minor ways. In all of the phases, we spent a lot of time talking about what we are eating and why this is an ongoing journey for our family. But in this phase, we have the bandwidth to go deeper on topics, especially with older kids. Why do we choose fattier cuts of meat? What is the difference between eating a chuck roast we cooked at home and sliced roast beef from the store? What are the pros and cons to using seasonings? Depending on your kid's age, they will process different amounts of information in different ways. So, just like anything else we want them to learn, we keep circling back around the topics on a regular basis. We worked on developing new family traditions for holidays and birthdays. We tested out different ways to manage special occasions like camp, sports, and potlucks. They're allowed to tell us they miss tacos and ice cream. Not gonna lie, we do too. But we don't miss how we felt back then. The stomach aches, lethargy, sugar crashes, and migraines. We also remind them that since they are young and healthy, they will probably have more flexibility with this way of eating than their father do, and that as they mature, they will need to determine those boundaries for themselves. Right now, we are focused on giving them the best start we can at growing up healthy. If you want to hear about this journey directly from my kids' mouths, try watching this video here where I interviewed each of them. Now to wrap this up, I want you to know that I'm giving away my Carnivore Family Grocery Guide to help you get started. Check out the description box for details. Leave a comment and tell me how you spent your World Carnivore month. And if you found any part of this video helpful, please consider sharing it on social media or with a friend. Smash that like button to show your support and feel free to email me questions at carnivorefam@gmail.com. And remember, if all else fails, go eat a steak.